Beyond the Gates spoilers tease that Nicole tries to hold herself together when the weight of her breakup with Ted hits her like a quiet avalanche. She keeps her face calm, her voice even, her posture upright the way she always does when the world around her starts to collapse. In public, she's the woman who doesn't break. But in private, the silence of her apartment is unbearable. The walls remember arguments she's trying to forget. The couch smells faintly like his cologne, and the ring-shaped mark on the coffee table still reminds her of the whiskey glass Ted used to rest there every night. She tells herself she's fine, that she's free, that she'll rebuild. But the truth is rawer than that. The end of her marriage has left her hollow. The name Richardson, once a mark of stability, a kind of armor, has slipped from her shoulders, and now she feels exposed. When people call her Miss Carter again, it sounds foreign, like a downgrade. A week after the divorce papers are finalized, Nicole decides to go out for dinner. It's not because she's hungry. It's because she needs to remind herself she can still exist outside that house, outside that name. She chooses a quiet, upscale bistro, the kind Ted used to hate because the portions were too small and the food too delicate. She orders wine, scrolls aimlessly through her phone, and tries not to think about how many times Ted's number has hovered on her call list, untouched. That's when she hears the laughter, sharp, familiar, like the sound of glass cracking. She looks up and sees Leslie walking in, perfectly put together, radiating the kind of confidence that always borders on cruelty. Leslie spots her too, and that slow, satisfied smile spreads across her face. The universe, it seems, still enjoys a little irony. "Nicole," Leslie says as she approaches, her tone sugar-sweet with venom underneath. "I almost didn't recognize you. You look different." "Simpler." Nicole forces a polite smile. "Leslie, always nice to see you, even when it's not." "Oh, don't be modest," Leslie says, taking in every detail: the simple black dress, the absence of jewelry, the faint tiredness around Nicole's eyes. "I suppose freedom has its perks, though I have to say, it must feel strange not being Mrs. Richardson anymore. Ted has such a presence, doesn't he?" "I imagine the house feels empty." Nicole knows exactly what Leslie is doing. She's always been a master at it, twisting words like a knife just deep enough to draw a reaction. But Nicole doesn't flinch. "Not tonight." "You're right," she says coolly, leaning back in her chair. "The house does feel empty. That's why I left." "I don't need Ted to feel whole, Leslie. But if you want the title so badly, you can have it. Anyone can become a Richardson these days." That lands. The smile on Leslie's lips falters, just for a moment, long enough for Nicole to see the flash of irritation behind her eyes. But then it's gone, replaced with that same mask of confidence. "How generous of you," Leslie says. "Not everyone gives away their name so easily." "Names don't define worth," Nicole replies. "Actions do." "You should try that sometime." Before Leslie can respond, a soft cough interrupts them. Peaches, sitting beside Leslie, has been silent the whole time, her frail frame barely able to keep up with the energy around her. She's older now, thinner, paler, her once vibrant eyes dulled by exhaustion. The cough turns rougher, pulling her forward as she tries to cover her mouth with a napkin. "Peaches," Nicole says, concern breaking through her guarded tone. Leslie waves it off. She's fine, just needs water. But Peaches isn't fine. The cough deepens, racking her small body, and a streak of red appears on the napkin. Leslie's face drains of color. "Peaches, stop talking," Leslie says quickly, her hands trembling slightly as she helps her friend. Peaches pushes her away weakly. "Money can't buy you class, Leslie," she croaks. "You can change your clothes, your hair, your friends, but you'll still be the same girl I raised, chasing approval that never mattered." Leslie's voice rises, fueled by panic and pride. "Don't start this now. You think I'm doing all this for show? I'm trying to build something real, something lasting, not live in a dying woman's shadow." The words are sharp, and even as they leave her mouth, Leslie regrets them. The moment Peaches coughs again, violently, she knows she's gone too far. "God, Peaches, I'm sorry." "Please." She grabs her purse and signals for the waiter. "We're leaving." Nicole stands too, instinctively wanting to help, but Leslie's glare freezes her in place. "Don't. I can handle it." And with that, Leslie half drags, half supports Peaches out of the restaurant, her composure shattering with every step. The evening that started as a victory, a chance to gloat over Nicole's fall, now feels like punishment. Outside, the night air is cold, biting against her skin. Peaches can barely breathe, her chest rattling as Leslie helps her into the car. "Hold on," Leslie whispers, more to herself than to Peaches. "Just hold on." She drives home faster than she should, one hand gripping the wheel, the other holding Peaches' arm as if that contact alone could keep her alive. When they reach the house, Leslie carries her inside and lays her gently on the couch. She fumbles with her phone, her voice shaking as she calls Eva. "She's coughing blood," Leslie says, her words tumbling over each other. "I don't know what to do. Just please come." Now, Eva doesn't hesitate. Within 20 minutes, she's at the door, her face pale with worry. She rushes to Peaches' side, taking her pulse, pressing a cool cloth to her forehead. "What happened?" Eva demands. Leslie hesitates, guilt flooding her expression. "We argued. I didn't mean to upset her. It just happened." Eva looks at her, disappointment flickering in her eyes. "You know her condition, Leslie. You know she can't handle stress like that." "I know," Leslie says, her voice small. "I just wanted." "What? To prove something? To make Nicole feel small?" "You think any of this matters now?" The silence that follows is thick. Peaches stirs, her breathing shallow but steady, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. "You need rest," she murmurs. "We're here now. We'll take care of you." Peaches opens her eyes slightly, her voice faint. "Leslie didn't mean it," she whispers. "She's just lost." Eva looks at Leslie again, this time softer, though her tone remains firm. "Then find yourself, before you lose her too." Later that night, after Peaches has fallen asleep, Eva and Leslie sit in the dimly lit kitchen. The only sound is the rhythmic ticking of the clock. "Do you remember," Eva begins quietly, "when Peaches used to take us to that tiny beach every summer? The one with the broken pier?" Leslie nods. "She'd make sandwiches and lemonade and pretend it was some fancy picnic." "She gave up everything for us," Eva says. "She may not have been your real mother, but she raised you like one." "Don't throw that away." Leslie stares at her hands. "You think I don't know that? Everything I have, the business, the house, the money, it all started with her. She believed in me when no one else did. But now, I don't know who I'm supposed to be when she's gone." Eva leans forward. "Then stop pretending. Stop chasing revenge. Ted isn't your future. You think marrying him will make you whole, but it won't. It'll just make you another version of Nicole, another woman trying to fit into his world." Leslie's jaw tightens. "You don't understand. I've worked too hard to be seen, to be respected. Ted is power, security, everything I've earned." "Everything you've earned?" Eva repeats, incredulous. "No, Leslie. Everything you've earned is sitting in that bedroom right now, fighting to breathe. That woman built you. Ted just noticed you after the foundation was already there." The truth hangs heavy between them. Leslie stands and walks to the window, looking out at the dark yard beyond. "You think I don't hate myself for what happened tonight?" she says quietly. "I'd give anything to take it back." "Then start by being here," Eva says. "Be the woman she raised, not the one the world expects." For the first time in a long time, Leslie doesn't have a comeback. The days that follow are slow and uneasy. Peaches' condition worsens, and every cough feels like a countdown. Leslie hires a private nurse, though she insists on staying home to supervise. Eva visits every morning before work and every night afterward, balancing her own life with the guilt of seeing the woman who raised her fade away. In the quiet hours, when the nurse is gone and the house falls still, Leslie sits by Peaches' bedside, her mind spiraling between memories and regrets. She remembers being 12, sitting on that same bed, crying because her real mother never came back for her. Peaches had held her then, whispering that love isn't about blood, it's about who stays. Now Peaches is the one slipping away, and Leslie feels powerless. One evening, as the sun sets and paints the walls gold, Peaches opens her eyes and reaches for Leslie's hand. "Don't waste your life chasing ghosts," she murmurs. "Money, titles, men, they're all distractions. The only thing that matters is who you love and how you treat them." Leslie squeezes her hand tightly. "I know," she says, tears sliding down her face. I just didn't realize how much until now. Peaches smiles faintly. Then maybe there's still time. But Leslie isn't sure there is. Across town, Nicole tries to move forward with her own life. She's started painting again, something she hasn't done since before she met Ted. The strokes are uneven, messy like her emotions. Her friends tell her she looks better, lighter, but she doesn't feel it. She keeps wondering if freedom is supposed to feel this lonely. One afternoon, she gets a text from an unknown number. He's already seeing someone. Just thought you should know. She doesn't have to ask who he is. The message feels like a punch. And though she tells herself she doesn't care, she still finds herself scrolling through social media that night, seeing the photos Ted at a charity event, Leslie on his arm, smiling for the cameras. The woman who once mocked her pain is now wearing her life like a trophy. Nicole stares at the screen, a strange mix of anger and pity twisting inside her. She closes the app, turns off her phone, and whispers to herself, let her have it. Let her choke on it. But letting go isn't that easy. Meanwhile, Leslie's obsession with Ted begins to grow. She tells herself it's love, but deep down, it's validation. The idea that if she becomes Mrs. Richardson, she'll finally prove to everyone, including Nicole, that she's won. She starts planning dinners, appearances, calculated run-ins. Ted doesn't resist. He is flattered by the attention. His ego feeds on admiration, and Leslie gives it generously. But underneath, there's calculation. Every gesture, every glance, is a move on a chessboard she's determined to win. Eva sees it happening and tries to intervene. You're doing it again, she warns. Turning life into a game. Leslie smirks. Games are only dangerous if you don't know how to play. Eva's voice hardens. You're playing with fire. Ted doesn't love you. He loves control. And when he's done, he'll move on just like he did with Nicole. Leslie turns away. Then I'll make sure he never wants to. Eva sighs. And what about Peaches? While you're busy proving yourself, she's getting worse. That hits harder than Leslie admits. She knows Eva's right. Every time she's out smiling beside Ted, Peaches is home struggling to breathe. But ambition is a drug, and Leslie's been addicted for years. When she returns home late one night, the house is quiet. Too quiet. She walks to Peaches' room and finds the nurse asleep in the chair. Peaches lies still, her breathing faint. Leslie sits beside her, brushing her hair gently. I'm sorry, she whispers. I've been selfish. I thought if I could just win, everything would make sense again. Peaches doesn't open her eyes, but her lips move slightly. Winning isn't everything, Leslie. Sometimes it's what you lose that teaches you who you are. Leslie feels the sting of tears again. Don't leave me, she says softly. I can't do this without you. But the truth is already in the air, unspoken but heavy. Peaches is fading, and there's nothing Leslie can do to stop it. The next morning, Eva arrives with fresh flowers and breakfast. When she sees Leslie sitting silently by the bed, she knows something's changed. She's still with us, Leslie says quickly, almost defensively. She's just sleeping. Eva nods, though her eyes fill with worry. Then let's make sure she rests easy. They spend the day together, the tension between them softening. For the first time in weeks, Leslie doesn't mention Ted. She just sits with Peaches, holding her hand, listening to the shallow rhythm of her breath. But later that night, after Eva leaves, Leslie's phone buzzes. It's Ted. Dinner tomorrow? Just the two of us. She stares at the message for a long time, torn between guilt and desire. Finally, she types back, yes. The choice feels small, just a text, but it shifts everything. Leslie wakes to a restless silence, the kind that presses down on the chest. The air in Peaches' room feels heavy, still carrying the faint scent of lavender oil. Peaches is sleeping again, but the rhythm of her breath is uneven, short, fragile gasps that break between seconds. Leslie sits beside her, watching the slow rise and fall of her chest. Guilt lingers in every corner of the room. She had gone to dinner with Ted the night before. She had promised herself she wouldn't, that she'd stay home, that she'd do the right thing for once. But she went anyway. She told herself it was business, that it was closure. But she knew it wasn't. Ted's charm still had a pull, a dangerous, comforting gravity that made her feel seen. He'd said things that night that she wanted to believe. He'd told her she was different, more confident than Nicole, more daring. She let those words settle deep, even though she knew what kind of man he was. Now, sitting beside Peach's bed, those words feel hollow. She reaches for Peach's hand, the skin cool and paper thin. "You'll be okay," she whispers. "I'll make sure of it." Peaches stirs, her eyes fluttering open just a little. "You shouldn't lie to yourself, Leslie," she murmurs, her voice barely audible. "You can't fix what you refuse to see." The words cut deeper than any insult ever could. Leslie squeezes her hand, fighting the tears that rise again. "Don't talk like that. I'm here. I'm not leaving you." But Peaches only gives a weak smile before drifting back into sleep. Later that morning, Eva arrives with a grocery bag full of soup, fresh fruit, and vitamins. She moves through the kitchen quietly, but the tension is palpable the moment she steps into the living room. Leslie is on the couch, scrolling through her phone, pretending not to be waiting for a message. Eva places the bag on the counter and looks at her. "You went out last night." "It's not a question." Leslie doesn't bother denying it. "I needed to clear my head." "With Ted," Eva says flatly. "You told me you'd stop." Leslie sighs. "He wanted to talk." "It wasn't a big deal." "It's always a big deal with him." "You think he's different now?" "He isn't. He'll use you like he used Nicole." Leslie's tone sharpens. "And what do you want me to do, Eva? Sit here and wait for Peaches to die? Pretend my life ended too?" Eva flinches. The cruelty isn't intentional, but it hits hard. "That's not fair," she says quietly. "She's the reason you even have a life worth fighting for. Don't dishonor her by wasting it on someone like him." Leslie looks away. For a moment, the mask slips. Beneath the pride and anger is something raw or fear. "I don't know how to stop," she admits softly. "I've spent so long trying to prove I'm better than Nicole, better than the woman everyone said I'd never be. If I let go of that, what's left?" Eva's voice softens. "You. That's what's left. And maybe that's the only thing Peaches ever wanted you to find." They don't speak for a long time after that. The clock ticks, the air hums with the quiet sound of machines running. In the other room, Peaches' breathing grows lighter. As evening falls, Leslie sits outside on the porch with a glass of wine. The world feels muted, the sky gray, the air thick. She scrolls through her phone again, half hoping Ted will call, half hoping he won't. When his name finally lights up the screen, her stomach tightens. He is charming as always. He talks about upcoming business trips, about how the press is speculating over his new mystery woman. He doesn't say Leslie's name, but he doesn't need to. He knows she's listening, hooked by the subtext. "Maybe we should make it official soon," Ted says, his tone teasing. "You and me." The world loves a good comeback story. Leslie laughs, though it sounds forced. "You mean your comeback story?" Ted chuckles. "Ours, if you play it right." That night, long after the call ends, Leslie lies awake thinking about what he said. "If you play it right." Those words echo like a dare. She knows Ted sees relationships like a game of power, and she's been playing along because part of her still believes she can win. But as she listens to Peaches coughing down the hall, something inside her cracks. She rises quietly, walks to the bedroom, and sits beside Peaches again. The older woman looks smaller than ever, like a shadow of herself. Leslie reaches out, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. "I met with him again," Leslie confesses softly. "You'd hate it. You'd say I'm making the same mistake twice. But I wanted to feel alive. I wanted to feel like I still mattered." Peaches doesn't respond, but her breathing slows. Leslie continues, her voice trembling. "I've been chasing this idea of who I thought I should be: powerful, admired, untouchable. But maybe that's not strength. Maybe strength is staying when it hurts. Maybe it's letting go when you want to hold on." She sits there until dawn, the sky turning pale through the curtains. The next morning, Eva finds her still in the same spot, holding Peaches' hand. The nurse is quietly checking vitals, her expression unreadable. When she finally turns to them, there's no need for words. Peaches is gone. For a long moment, no one moves. Leslie's face is still, her eyes fixed on the peaceful expression that death has left behind. Eva steps closer and places a hand on her shoulder, but Leslie doesn't react. When the funeral comes, it's small but dignified. Only a handful of close friends and old acquaintances attend. Nicole shows up too, quietly, standing at the back. She doesn't speak to Leslie, but their eyes meet briefly. Two women bound by the same man, the same pain, and now, the same loss. After the service, Leslie lingers at the grave long after everyone has gone. Eva stands a few feet away, giving her space. The rain begins to fall, soft at first, then heavier. Leslie kneels, her hand on the wet soil. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "For everything." Eva approaches and hands her an umbrella. "You don't have to keep punishing yourself." Leslie shakes her head. "Maybe I do. Maybe that's the only way I'll learn." Eva sighs. Learning doesn't mean suffering. It means changing. For a while, Leslie doesn't answer. Then she looks up, her expression unreadable. "I think I need to leave. The house, the city, all of it. I can't stay here and keep making the same choices." Eva studies her. "Where will you go?" "I don't know," Leslie admits. "Maybe somewhere quiet. Somewhere I can remember her without all of this noise." Eva nods. "Then do it. But make it real this time. Don't run away. Rebuild." Leslie gives a faint smile. "You sound like her." "I take that as a compliment." That night, Leslie packs a single suitcase. She walks through the house one last time. The kitchen where Peaches used to hum while cooking, the hallway filled with framed photos, the living room where arguments and laughter once coexisted. Every corner holds a memory. When she reaches Peaches' bedroom, she pauses. The bed is neatly made, the scent of lavender still faint in the air. On the nightstand sits a small jewelry box. Inside is a folded note in Peach's handwriting. "You already have everything you think you're missing. Don't look for love in mirrors, it won't find you there." Leslie presses the note to her chest and finally lets herself cry. Meanwhile, Ted's life continues, fast and polished as ever. His relationship with Leslie fades almost as quickly as it began. A few weeks after the funeral, he is spotted with another woman, younger, ambitious, perfectly camera-ready. Leslie sees the photo online one morning while waiting for her flight. There's no anger this time, no bitterness, just a dull ache that feels strangely like freedom. Eva keeps in touch. She sends updates, photos, little reminders that the world is still moving. Nicole too begins to rebuild slowly, carefully. She and Eva cross paths again at a charity event months later. They talk briefly, awkwardly at first, but with mutual understanding. Nicole admits she heard about Peaches and felt sorry she never got to say goodbye. Eva thanks her and tells her that Leslie's gone away to find herself. Nicole nods. Maybe that's the best thing she could do. Eva smiles faintly. Maybe it's what we all need sometimes. In the months that follow, Leslie's messages become infrequent but lighter. She writes from small towns and quiet coastal cities, sending Eva photos of sunsets and empty cafes. Her words are softer, her tone grounded. She doesn't mention Ted once. One evening, Eva receives a letter instead of a text. The handwriting is neat, deliberate. "I think I finally understand what she meant. Peaches wasn't warning me about love, she was teaching me about peace. I used to think power was control. Now I know it's forgiveness. Maybe someday I'll come back. But for now, I'm exactly where I need to be." Eva folds the letter carefully and places it in the box with Peaches' note. Back in the city, Nicole drives past the restaurant where she last saw Leslie. It's changed names now, new owners, new lights. But the memory flickers. Two women standing across a table, each pretending they weren't breaking. She doesn't feel anger anymore, only a kind of distant empathy. They were both fighting for something they didn't need: Ted's approval, a name, a version of happiness that never fit either of them. When she gets home, she pulls out her old sketchbook and starts drawing again. Her lines are stronger now, her hand steadier. Eva, meanwhile, starts volunteering at a local hospice in Peach's memory. The work is quiet, heavy at times, but meaningful. She often thinks of Leslie, wonders if she's still near the ocean, still chasing sunrises. Sometimes she dreams that Peaches is there too, sitting beside her, humming softly like she used to. Life moves forward, uneven but steady. The storms that once raged between these women have settled into calm waters. Nicole learns peace in solitude, Eva finds strength in service, and Leslie somewhere far away learns the art of starting over. The past doesn't vanish, it lingers like a faint echo. But it no longer defines them. Each of them, in their own way, has walked through grief, jealousy, love, and loss, and somehow, found the other side. On a quiet morning months later, Eva receives one final postcard from Leslie. The image is of a vast open field, the kind that stretches endlessly under blue sky. On the back, just 2 lines are written: "Tell Nicole I'm glad she got free first. Tell Peaches I'm finally home." Eva places the postcard beside Peaches' photo on the mantel and smiles through the tears. In that moment, she knows that even though the gates they once stood beyond were heavy with pain and pride, they finally stepped through them not to find what they wanted, but to find who they were always meant to be.